You know those moments in life where you think you've absolutely nailed a plan and then reality steps in and says, nice try, maybe next time. Well, Pauline and I nearly built our whole retirement lifestyle around long-term travel. Month-long stays, setting up mini lives around the world, until we actually tried it. And thank goodness we did, because we dodged a pretty huge and potentially very expensive mistake. We're Dean and Pauline, sharing what we learn as we travel towards our next stop, retirement. Today I want to talk you through how a single slow travel trial run changed our entire retirement future plan. If you're dreaming of a retirement filled with long stays, feeling like a local, or even a full-time nomad life, then this video might save you a stack of money and potentially some heartache as well. Because, as we found out, slow travel is brilliant for the right people. But the only way to know whether you are one of those people is to try it out, and preferably before you retire while the stakes are low. We'd made one really big assumption. For years, Pauline and I had spoken about this amazing retirement life we were planning that was going to be filled with slow travel. We'd downsize, retire, live overseas for at least 6 months a year, stay in one place for a month or so, move on to the next one. We'd imagine daily markets visits, hanging out at our favourite new coffee shop, making friends with the locals, and settling into each spot like we actually belong there. It sounded like the perfect way to wind down after so many years of hard work. And we assumed, as most people do, that staying in one place for a longer period of time would naturally make us happier, more relaxed, and save us money along the way. Turns out that fantasy version of us had a lot more patience than we actually do. What did we do? Well, we actually took a pre-retirement trial run. Pauline's still a couple of years from retirement, but we decided that she'd dip into some of a long service leave and we'd go somewhere for a couple of months. We weren't going to test out a single place for just a week. We weren't going to treat it just like every other vacation that we've had. We were going to have a genuine 1 month stay in a single place. At that time, and probably still to today, Mexico was our favourite country in the world. So when it came to thinking about places to have that trial run, it seemed like a no-brainer. We were going to go to Mexico and we were going to go for longer than we ever had before. We started with an awesome 3-month road trip around the country before we decided to settle into Merida for a bit over a month. On paper, it was a great choice. Amazing food, plenty of culture, cheap accommodation, and being so flat, it's an incredibly walkable city. And during that month in Merida, we told ourselves, we're not here just for another vacation, we're here to test a future lifestyle. And we'd be tracking everything while we were there. Things like how we spent our days, how restless we got, how much admin it actually takes on a daily basis to stay somewhere new for a long term. What was our energy level like each day? And how we were feeling mentally day by day. After a few days, it seemed like we were on an absolute winner, and we were more excited than ever about the possibility of our slow travel retirement. But after the first couple of weeks, we started to notice a few cracks appearing. Looking back on it now, I can pinpoint some things that weren't going to work for us in the future. Now, this isn't a rant about how bad slow travel is, that you shouldn't do it, how full-time expat lifestyle isn't really worth having. Because the truth is, it's a fantastic option for some people. It just isn't a fantastic option for us. We just realised after a few weeks that we're really not that one place for over a month type couple. So let's have a look at what didn't work for us. First of all, restlessness set in way faster than we expected. By day 14, we felt like we were wandering the same streets over and over. We were seeing the same things, eating the same food. The second issue we came across was that our excitement levels had started to dip. We loved Discovery Days, and Merida really is a great place to explore and find new things. It was much harder to switch out of that vacation mindset that we'd always had. and we really weren't loving that idea of long stay travel anymore. The third thing we noticed was that now there just seemed to be too many routine days. There was time spent researching, trying to find new places to visit, new things to see. There were laundry days, there were grocery days. It started to feel a lot less like the adventure of living overseas than we'd always imagined, and feeling more like normal life, except in somewhere much hotter and not quite as comfortable as home. We also noticed that our productivity dropped. We really thought we'd thrive in a slower travel environment. To simply sit around and enjoy the daily routines of the local culture. Instead, it was making us feel a bit flat. We realised that travel is energising for us when there's the potential of new experiences. It doesn't have to be constant movement, it just needs to be a sense of progress. So far it might seem like the whole thing was an absolute debacle, but in reality, that couldn't be further from the truth. We certainly came out of it with some changes to our current travel style that have made things better ever since, because it really wasn't all just doom and gloom and deja vu. We realised that there were parts of the experiment that were really different from how we usually travelled and that could be used to make it better in the future. We were enjoying things like having that bit of extra time to settle in instead of trying to jam as much as possible into the short time that we were going to stay somewhere new. We were also enjoying taking things a bit easier in the mornings or coming back to our room for a bit of a midday chill stop if it was too hot. We loved that there was less time waiting around for flights or other type of transport. And what budget traveller doesn't enjoy knowing that there's the potential for discounted accommodations if you stay for a week or more? We really enjoyed getting to know where the locals eat and shop. And Pauline in particular loved that she'd found a local coffee shop that she enjoyed, a place that wasn't driving tourists because it was in a guidebook. But the winds weren't strong enough to outweigh the fact that we just didn't really enjoy staying in the same place for a month. By the end of our Mexico long stay and then a second trial that we did in Spain, we'd worked out a few things. We weren't ever going to be slow travellers, but we were going to be slow-ish travellers. We'd found our sweet spot. 7 to 14 days in one spot would give us enough time to unpack properly, to find our favourite place for happy hour. But it wasn't so long that we'd forget that we were actually travelling. This hybrid approach, slow enough to enjoy life, fast enough to stay energised, turned out to be perfect for us. And that's the point I want to drive home. You can only discover your ideal travel lifestyle by testing different things, not just by assuming it or seeing someone else's life and going, wow, that'd be great. So as I said before, by taking this trial run, we avoided a potentially very costly mistake. If we hadn't done it, we would have built our immediate retirement lifestyle over long stays. We could possibly have sold our house and all our stuff, or at least downsized to somewhere probably a little bit smaller than we feel comfortable in. We might have locked in a few month-long stays overseas for our first couple of months. We would have booked long-term visas, we would have booked flights, we would have spent so much time working on all the other logistics. And then we would have found ourselves miserable 2 weeks in. And in the end, it's not just inconvenient, it's expensive. Emotionally expensive and financially expensive. Our test runs may have cost us a couple of $1,000s, but in reality, we also had pretty good vacation as part of it. But it would have cost us considerably more if we'd have gone all in when we retired. That's why I encourage everyone, whether you're 5 years from retirement or recently retired and about to throw everything into the ring, try a version of your dream before you really commit. We have another video that I made on how to plan your own retirement travel trial run. I'll put a link in the description below and you should go and have a look after this. If you want to test your potential retirement travel style, then here's my simple advice. Don't build your retirement around a travel lifestyle that you've never actually lived. Test it now. Don't worry about finding the perfect version of it. Just start with a version of it. If you've got the time, try a month in one place. Or if you're a bit worried about ending up like us, try 2 places for 2 weeks each. Or if you've only got the 2 weeks and still want a bit of a vacation feel as well, split it in halves. Go to somewhere, act like a tourist for the first week, and live like a local for the second week. And importantly, take particular notice of how you feel about the 2 different types of travel, how you feel about staying somewhere for a longer term, and be honest. You might discover that slow travel is perfect for you and you can't wait to get started. Or you might end up like us and prefer that idea of slowish, keep us slowly moving sort of travel. Either way, you win. You go into retirement knowing that you're making a confident decision on your lifestyle and not just a blind one. Whether you've already tried slow travel or whether you're planning on doing it in the near future, drop us a comment. Let us know about your experience. I'd be particularly interested to hear about your dream versus reality scenarios. Well, that's enough for today. I'm off to plan some slowish travel across Vietnam for a month or so. And you never know, we might see you there.